You know what? I'm pretty sure you got the wrong understanding of what is MSRP, and I am here to fix that. Hi everyone, as you know, I'm GoFries. I was formerly a country manager for the brand ASRock for the country Malaysia. And in this video, I'll share to you what exactly is MSRP and why should you listen to me? Well, in my years of working in ASRock, I've actually set MSRPs for so many products. For example, the 6000 and 7000 series AMD graphics card, the Intel Arc graphics card, and AMD and Intel chipset motherboards across multiple generations. When the AM5 motherboard came, I set the MSRP, and the rest of the Intel boards, like going to the 600 series, 700 series chipsets. Yeah, that's me behind it. So in this video, I'll share to you I also share with you how MSRP works, and as a bonus content, I'll even show you how I calculated MSRP before, this is just common knowledge. It's not some espionage whatever thing. Talk to anyone, who is actually in the industry. It's pretty much the same thing. It works in not just PC hardware. It works literally in any business involving a distribution chain and retail network. So pretty much that. Let's begin. It's going to be a lengthy one, so bear with me. I have a phone here and we're going to go through everything. So we've all heard presentation from many people, which I'm sure you can name. I will not be calling out names, but there are some big guys who are going around with things like, this card is 50% above MSRP, this card has dropped to MSRP, or you can now get this card below MSRP. And also using community people where they commented stuff like, I got this card at MSRP. So when the community comments that way, it's clearly that they already misunderstood what is MSRP, thanks to the wrong portrayal of what is MSRP from these especially large channels. So yeah, that's why I'm making this video to settle what is MSRP. Clearly the understanding of MSRP is wrong. Every time these people are saying, oh, it's higher or lower than whatever this price, they are not referring to MSRP. They're referring to the launch price, which this card at 1000, that card at 750, whatever, those are the launch price. They are not MSRP. AMD and Nvidia, for example, has not used the term MSRP on their announcement. This is why they don't do that, because MSRP is as what the name suggests. So we're going to break down, in case you don't know it yet, the words MSRP referring to. Now we're going to skip RP because that's retail price. The key words to look at is the M and the S. M is for manufacturer, S is for suggestion. Manufacturer, AMD and Nvidia, for example, and Intel, if you want to bring them in, they are not the manufacturer of the card. There might be reference models, yes, I understand that. So the price, you can refer it for the reference models, but not the partner cards, the AIB cards because those are the manufacturer. They have their price, and therefore they are the one who sets the price. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Yep, those prices, no doubt the partners, the brands, could have models that come close or meet the supposed launch price, but don't hold fast on that. Even when I was in ASRock that time, from my experience, the cost price itself, the starting cost price where the dealer distribution buys the card itself, is already very close to the announced price, even before you factor in landed cost and before you factor in profit margin for the various layers. So you understand what I'm saying? It is almost impossible to meet the announced price without going at a loss. Or in some case, that a certain brand, when recently launched a range of graphic card, went on a promotion where they subsidize part of the cost to keep the price at the launch price. It can be done, and usually, again, like I said, baseline model, limited time price, and may or may not require support from the people who make the GPU to meet the price. And yeah, pretty much that. So how does this MSRP work in practice? I may have actually covered that, because when I talk, I do have a lot written here, but I digress when it's related. So let's go deeper into this. We have to see that MSRP is not one size fits all. This is the key thing that everyone must understand. What is announced is on the stage for the worldwide to see, but the MSRP is always by country. Because let's face it, if the product is produced in Vietnam, to ship to the US is going to be very different from to let's say ship to say Hong Kong and maybe to Malaysia, Australia. We have different, they can be using different form of shipping. Some people they use when the quantity is small, they might use air freight, some use sea freight, and then there's different taxes and all that. Every country has their challenge. And Malaysia, we have matters like exchange rate. Exchange rate may fluctuate and all that, but typically we have an estimation. But basically what I'm telling you is that what is announced, you cannot just use the announced price is 1,000 by Malaysian ringgit, so it should be 4,200 without factoring landing costs and every other logistics matters in that. And then second thing you have to consider is MSRP will vary from brand to brand. As one, for example, let's just take Nvidia GPUs. Allocation is different for different brands. The bigger partners will get a lot of allocation, the smaller ones get less. When you have smaller quantity, your production is lesser quantity, and it can affect your cost. As you know, quantity can affect your cost, okay, for your negotiation and all that. So every brand will have, and you know, the heatsink, the shroud, the RGB, everything, the R&D materials used down to the capacitors and whatever things that I am not able to name because I am not an engineer. So yeah, all these things will affect the cost. It's kind of like you and your neighbors baking cake. I can get your neighborhood to bake cake. Everyone will source for a different material to bake a cheesecake, and the outcome when you guys decide what price to put for your cake, it will be of a different price, even though everyone is putting for cake of same size or same weight. Okay, so with that explained, you guys understand realistically you cannot be expecting everything, whether 6 months, whatever month later, to based on the launch price, because these guys, again, I don't want to name who, but you should know who by now. They are always harping on the launch price. Everything is launch price without understanding what is launch price, what is MSRP. And it is clearly that these people are also they are detached from the actual industry. You might be good at doing benchmark, I respect that, but clearly if you have not worked as a principal or work closely with distribution channels, you'll be harping on this without actually understanding what is MSRP and how things work. And it's going to be, actually, to be frank, it's actually detrimental to the industry itself. I don't care what you guys are saying, because as a YouTuber, content creator, as a hobbyist, I also work as a principal. I will work as a distributor before. I also am a dealer. So literally, I have badges to many parts of this industry, and that is what I see. So pretty much that's why listen to me as we go on with the next one. Now, yeah, pretty much that I come to the next point that I've pretty much covered that already. So again, you might think that brands or distribution channels are cheating. No, cost is cost. You coming when cost is cost. They come in, they have cost. People are making a living. We are not doing charity. So with that, I hope you understand that business is business. They are not doing charity. And so that's why I'm going to show you the calculation for MSRP, so you understand better, so you do not feel so negatively to the situation, thinking that everyone is out there to take advantage of you. And furthermore, these are luxury goods. You have option not to buy them. Anyway, let's head into the calculation of MSRP. This is probably the interesting part for you guys to see. Alright, so we are at this corner of this is actually my workplace, and on screen right now, you see the table of which I prepared to show you how MSRP is calculated. Now, this is not a document hijacked from anywhere. This is based on my experience working as a principal, working with a distributor, and working as a distributor. So this is typically how, on my end back then, how I set the SRP. So let's start with the first column, which is product model. As you can see, I listed out based on some graphics card like that. So let's say these are the SKUs available. And FOB will be the cost price. When I say cost price, means that if the distribution channel wants to bring in S/2 IAR Y520, then per unit price is 500. So, and it doesn't matter what currency. I mean, I'm thinking Malaysian ringgit, but if it's US dollars, if it's euro, it doesn't matter really. Now, next up, we talk about the taxes and others. This means that you have taxes, shipping costs, tariffs, whatever, this kind of thing. And with the FOB plus the individual tax, everything, and we will derive in the third part, which is this other column called landed cost. Now, if you can Google up, this is the actual term. Landed cost means besides, it's like more on top of the product cost, there's the other costs involved before the item reaches the destination. So that's the landed cost. So it means your total cost after landed, because you ordered 10 units of Y520, that's 5,000. You haven't factored in shipping, taxes, everything. Once it landed, that's the total price. And then you divide it by the number of units that you ordered. So that's where you get the landed cost. This is always an estimation because things do change, but we pretty much get that. All right. Now, next part, we want to set the dealer price first. So as a principal or the distributor, whichever, we will want to set the dealer price. The dealers are the ones that at the retail front. They are like the shops who buy these products to sell, right? And who determines the SDP? Well, from my experience when working at ASRock, I set the SDP. I can set everything, or in some cases, I let this distribution channel set the SDP. Again, it really depends on what we decided. Sometimes we want to make it competitive. We can set the distributor margin to be lower, say 5%, but taking into profit margin, it may have some ramifications. And then yeah, so pretty much entirely up to discussion. I just put it 8% for our discussion purpose. If you want to put it lower, 550, so we get 5%, or you put 580, 590, in fact, then it can be towards the 10% range, whichever you want. All right. And after that, we can go back to, let's say, what was the price earlier. All right. Now, on that part aside, then we can set the SRP. Again, the number is entirely up to us how we want to set. What do we think should be the margin for the dealers? Once again, SRP we set accordingly. I mean, if we want to be more attractive for the dealers to push the product, we can set a higher margin, or we can set it lower, but that again has ramifications. Well, so these type of things, as you can see, every product will have its own SRP. So let's just go again with the 8%. Okay, right. So in the end, we will, after this one is settled, we will just say, oh, this is going to be the MSRP for Y520, Y650, Y790. So that's why whatever you see announced at, let's say, AMD's announcement, Nvidia announcement, whatever announcement, the MSRP, that is not the MSRP, that's the announced price. The MSRP is over here. Of course, AMD's own CPU, and that's another thing, because the AMD CPU is by AMD itself. No partners, like for example graphics card, motherboard, you have board partners, AIBs, these kind of things. So yeah, pretty much that. And what it is, I feel like I missed out something. So basically, SRP is, like, as you can see, per product basis, and whatever you see on the online marketplace, high chances is that it's not MSRP, because as the name suggests, it is suggested, pun intended. So being a suggested price, some people follow it, but there will be dealers who price it lower or even far lower. Even they could even price it close to dealer price or even less. It happens when, let's say, dealers want to clear their product and such. But we'll go into that one later. And pretty much this is the table of which I wish to show you what setting the SRP is like. Once it landed, it has either the distribution channel who sets in cases where they have no principal in the market, so the distributor is going to set the price, or in cases where there is a principal, like in my position last time, I'll be the one setting everything to show the dist, and usually they agree. They're nice people, they agree with it. Or if they feel it's not so good, they will suggest, and we'll come up with something that we can both agree on. And in some cases where I feel like they know better on what to set, then I will just give them the leeway to set the price and just let me know what they set. If I look at it and I feel it's okay, then it's good to go. So yeah, pretty much that. Let's go into the other details of this one, and hope this calculation table has been actually something educational for you to understand that, again, MSRP is not announced by the guys like AMD and Nvidia, and MSRP is set like people like myself who was in that role, and MSRP is for individual products, and it is subjected to change according to the market situations. Once again, I'll end this one. Let's hop back to the rest of the content. One more thing to touch on is that MSRP will change. It can fluctuate higher or lower. Like for example, in Malaysia here, last time when I set things at a certain price, exchange rate was 4.2 Malaysian ringgit to $1. Then later it became 4.7. So any new batch of the same item coming in will have to reflect with the price. So we have to time the goods to come in and change the price accordingly, so it does not affect the dealers that are supporting us and all this kind of thing. There's a lot of intricacies involved. So people who are not in the industry, people who are detached in the industry, they can say a lot of things, but they do not understand how difficult it is to adjust the price. The price does not change immediately based on the exchange rate. It depends on the exchange rate and the point of order and arrival and a lot of other things. So I won't go into that. It's detailed. It's tricky to adjust. You don't want to offend the key parties, and you want to minimize any problems that may arise from the price changes. So, and therefore, that's why people who are harping on the launch price, no good. The prices is subjected to change because the world is fluid. A lot of these content creators are in their own world, have their own expectations without factoring how the world does not revolve around them. And check out this part from Gamers Nexus, which I like it very much. The guy from Hype speaks what exactly happens in the industry, that your MSRP will have to be changed. And guess who's the one that's setting the MSRP for the product? It's Hype. And here it is.
Now we're in a situation where we have existing products that we've sold in these retailers, and now that there are tariffs, we have to raise the MSRP to cover the tariffs.
Alright, so we come to the end of this video. I hope this explaining of what is MSRP and how it's calculated gives you a much better idea, a greater picture of what's beyond your scope of this industry. Let's face it, you're watching this video, and I appreciate it very much knowing that you are a part of the PC enthusiast community, and all of us love PC hardware. However, without proper understanding of what is MSRP, and if you keep on listening to the wrong explanation of what is MSRP, thinking that the launch price is MSRP.
In fact, most RTX 5070 Ti's in general are either out of stock or priced massively over the MSRP.
You are going to feel absolutely miserable about this industry. And with that, I end this video, and I hope you enjoy it. Do remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and bye bye.